End of watch. The third film from David Ayer as a director. Now, he wrote several movies before this, and he'd already really made a name for himself before this as a screenwriter, but this was his first really successful movie as a director, and it helped his career out a lot. And it's one of I didn't see this when it came out, but I watched it now.
I am Police Officer 2, Brian Taylor. This is my partner, Officer Zavala.
I'm in my charges.
I know, dude. Come on.
I'm in my charges. No.
Come on, man. We were basic patrol here at Newton, one of the toughest divisions in the LAPD.
Take pride in what you do, you guys.
Yes, sir.
I got him. Try to run. Pin him, man. Pin him.
You know, I see you guys out here being good little company men. It's all fun and games. You get to run and jump and fight and shoot.
So I got this as a request, and I got this, it was the first request I got on my channel. I'm relatively new to this. I've only been doing it for a little while. So I figured I'd honor the first request. Why not? And besides, I never saw this movie. I always heard it was good. I don't know, it's like, I didn't really know what it was about. And the trailers didn't feel like they told me enough. And at the time, I was kind of not a big fan of Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal had done the movie Jarhead a few years before this, and I hated that movie. I hated his performance in it. I hated everything about the movie Jarhead. So yeah, that was a big part of the reason why I didn't see this. But Gyllenhaal's won me over since. Like in Denis Villeneuve's, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that guy's name, Denis Villeneuve, the guy who's doing the new Dune movie. His movie Prisoners with Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal. I thought Gyllenhaal was great in that. He was good in Nocturnal Animals. I mean, that movie's a waste of time, but his performance was good in it. So yeah, he's won me over since then, and he's great in this movie, by the way. Jake Gyllenhaal's fantastic in this movie, or should I say Jake Gyllenhaal? That's that. He said that in interviews. That's the actual pronunciation of his name, Jake Gyllenhaal. Just no one pronounces it correctly, and I don't think he encourages it either, because I think he knows that that's not a good movie star name. You don't want to be Jake Gyllenhaal. It's Gyllenhaal. That's fine. And his sister Maggie Gyllenhaal, stars him and Michael Pena. Michael Pena is very good in this as well. And at the start of the movie, I had a little bit of a hard time taking Michael Pena seriously, just because I've seen him in so many comedies lately. But he's still good. He's a good serious actor. I mean, he broke through with that movie Crash, won Best Picture, and he was good in that. So yeah, they're great. They have really good chemistry, and this is a cop movie. I mean, it's this very, very straightforward cop movie, and the reason the trailers don't really tell you what it's about is because it's not really about anything. This is just about two cops' lives. It's what they used to call a slice of life movie. A movie where you're just watching characters exist. The best example in the world of slice of life movie is Clerks, the first Jay and Silent Bob movie, Kevin Smith's first movie, the black and white one. That movie has no plot. It's just watching two guys at their jobs that they hate for a day. And that's basically what End of Watch is. It's watching two guys do their jobs. They like their jobs, but it's just watching Michael Pena and Jake Gyllenhaal's characters do their jobs. They're partners. They're very, very close friends. And I mean, you could argue what this movie ultimately is about is kind of brotherhood. But this is a very pro-police movie. This would be a great Back the Blue movie. I mean, this is very, very pro-police. And as far as that goes, it's good. It humanizes them. It does a good job. I mean, Gyllenhaal and Pena very much just seem like guys of that era, coming out of the 2000s, guys that came up during that kind of personality. A lot of the stuff in this movie would not fly today. It's very un-PC. And, like, Michael Pena is always calling women bitches. Like, hey, did you bitch call? Like, the stuff that you just wouldn't go over today. You wouldn't be able to do it. It would offend people too much. But, it's cool, and I like their performances. I like the way they approach their characters. Apparently, they did a ton of research, and you can tell. This is honestly about the most authentic feeling cop movie I've ever seen. I will absolutely give it credit for that. Like, just everything feels very real. It has a very documentary-esque tone to it, which is ironic because through the whole movie, Jake Gyllenhaal's character is making a documentary about himself. He claims it's for a school project. Apparently he's doing some pre-law night classes, but he's doing it through the whole movie. And this movie takes place over a good long period of time. I mean, IMDb says it takes place over a period of 8 months. It felt longer than that to me. And the reason I say that is because we see Jake Gyllenhaal's entire relationship with his girlfriend Anna Kendrick. From them texting, like just cutesy flirting, all the way up through her being married and her being pregnant. Like, I mean, either he was moving fast or, like I said, I would have guessed this was closer to a year and a half. Regardless, that's too long to have it be a school project. This was a hobby for him, basically. And a lot of the movie is done in found footage, but then a lot of it isn't. And the biggest criticism I have of this flick, honestly, is that I couldn't always tell if I was on found footage or not. Like they don't commit to the bit. Like sometimes I'm like, okay, I know this is body cam footage. It's real obvious when it's body cam footage. And then sometimes it's like, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be the squad car, and sometimes it was definitely the squad cars, like a little built-in camera. But then sometimes I was just like, I don't know, because Ayer shoots the movie the same way, whether it's found footage or not. So he's like, I don't know. Not that it's important. I just sometimes it was distracting because I was sitting there like during the wedding. I was thinking, am I supposed to be watching the wedding video or not? But that's fine. So, like I said, this is the third movie David Ayer directed. Now, David Ayer came up as a screenwriter. He had a colossal success right at the beginning of his career as a screenwriter. Now, the thing you'll notice about Hollywood screenwriters is that most of them are lucky to get one movie made in their entire career. Like, if you look up 5 of your favorite movies on IMDb and click on the screenwriter, it's a good chance that guy didn't have another movie made, period. The screenwriters are treated like dirt in Hollywood. They are nothing. Like, it's sad. And, so it's very rare that a guy has as much success as Ayer had right at the beginning of his career, because he wrote The Fast and the Furious, which turned into this colossal franchise. And I hope he had a good deal on that movie, because if he retained any ownership over those characters, like that alone has him set. That has his kids set for life if he did. If he didn't, though, he's probably just sitting there mad every time we have Fast and Furious 12. I don't watch those movies, but and then he wrote Training Day, which is probably the most respected cop movie of the last couple decades. You know, Denzel Washington's performance in that movie is absolutely iconic, and with good reason. So he did that. He had Fast and Furious, Training Day, and U-571, the McConaughey submarine World War movie. So with those 3 successes, he was able to get himself status as a director. Now, Ayer's career he always kind of leans back towards doing gritty LA street movies. Like, I think that was one of the big complaints about Suicide Squad when it came out, was it didn't feel like a traditional comic book movie, and it really didn't. It felt like David Ayer was kind of trying to turn a comic book movie into one of his movies. And a lot of people didn't respond to that, like the Joker basically just being a really over-the-top gangster. Some people liked it and some people didn't. Like, Suicide Squad is probably the most divisive superhero movie of the last 10 years, if not ever. Because the thing is that there are people that love that movie. I know someone that is their favorite movie. I've seen people cosplaying the Joker and Harley Quinn from that movie, but then there are other people who treat that movie like it is the worst thing they have ever seen. They're like, it is trash. It is the most... Like, the movie had its flaws, but it wasn't bad. Come on. Then again, I'm not a superhero fan, so maybe to superhero fans, it really is the worst movie ever made. I don't know. Anyway, but as a director, he got to start with Harsh Times, and End of Watch is very similar to Harsh Times. Now, Harsh Times is not a cop movie, even though it was marketed as a cop movie. But it's a great flick. Christian Bale's fantastic in it. Then he did Street Kings with Keanu Reeves, another LA cop movie. And Street Kings is a very good movie with Keanu Reeves and Chris Evans. Then he did this. So this is his 3rd film, and this was the one that really kind of landed. Like, Harsh Times was really pretty ignored, and unjustifiably. I thought it was a very good movie. But Harsh Times was kind of ignored. Street Kings underperformed. But then End of Watch actually really landed for him and kind of really kicked his career into overdrive as a director. You know, that End of Watch is the movie that made Arnold Schwarzenegger choose him to direct Sabotage. And that, of course, led to Fury, which was a big budget war movie with Brad Pitt. So, yeah, Ayer's career is not doing so good lately. His last couple movies weren't very well received, but I hold out hope that he'll bounce back. Anyway, so this movie reminded me of a couple things. It reminded me of Colors, the old 80s cop movie with Robert Duvall and Sean Penn, which was also kind of like this. It was an LA cop movie, first off, but it was also just very much about watching these 2 cops kind of roll around LA. It didn't really have much of a plot. It was just seeing that movie was more about how the job was sort of negatively affecting Sean Penn's character and seeing him kind of go off the rails, but it still didn't really have much of a plot. And another movie I saw very recently called Crown Vic with Thomas Jane, the dude who played the Punisher, and that was also like this. It was just watching 2 cops, I believe that was also Los Angeles, just kind of roll around on one night of their shift. So yeah, it reminded me of a lot of different things, but overall, like I said, this is the most authentic feeling cop movie I've seen, and this is a very authentic feeling movie in general. Like, the acting is very naturalistic, and apparently a lot of the movie was ad-libbed. Gyllenhaal and Pena ad-libbed a lot of their conversations when they were in the car, and the scene where Gyllenhaal is with Anna Kendrick when they're driving to Vegas, where they're singing to each other, was apparently not even supposed to be in the movie. That was just Jake Gyllenhaal and Anna Kendrick fooling around in the car. They didn't even know they were being filmed until they saw it cut into the movie. So yeah, it's a very real movie. The characters like are kind of dressed down a bit. They're not wearing a lot of makeup and stuff. They're allowed to look very natural. But it's hard to really talk about what this movie's about because again, there's not a plot really. So you just see episodes in these guys' lives. They're working in the 13th district in LA, and I don't know if that's real because I've never been to LA. So, but apparently they're in kind of like the worst area of Los Angeles, and I can say living near a major urban center myself, that if you're in the worst neighborhood of a major city, yeah, it's going to be a really bad area. Like they do kind of explain that we're going to see more shit in a day than the average cop would see in his entire career. So that kind of justifies why they have so many adventures, because a lot of stuff jumps off for them. Like right at the beginning of the movie, they have this car chase that ends in a shooting. Then they have this domestic disturbance where Michael Pena, and Michael Pena is not a very good cop in this movie. A cop should theoretically de-escalate, and he tends to escalate situations. Like he gets pissed off and just starts screaming at someone. But like in that domestic call, he gets into this just knockdown, drag out fight. And it's not a fight that had to happen. Like Michael Pena just straight up says to this guy, like, "You call me out, well I'm calling you out. Let's settle this like men, bro." And like they're just kicking each other's asses while Gyllenhaal's laughing off in the corner. But so Michael Pena is not a very good cop in this movie. But yeah, so they do that, and they have a call with missing children, where it's a couple junkies, and I get the impression that the guy is the one they had just tied up their kids in a closet and I guess forgot about them. So and that's scary. The idea of drug addicts having children, because that's a horrible circumstance right there. It's just sad. I actually have a friend who adopted a kid that was in a situation like that. Her parents were actually keeping her in a cage, like one of those pet carrier cages. It's like, man, part of me wishes I'd have been the one to find out about that, because I'd have introduced those parents to a baseball bat. Like, man, what could I do? I had to defend myself, crack. Fuck you. So they rescue the kid, and there's this kind of, the closest thing this movie has to a plot is that Gyllenhaal and Pena's characters keep kind of bumping up against a gang that's trying to take over this area called the Curbside. The gang calls themselves Curbside. So and that would be the other complaint I have about this movie, is that the Curbside gang is kind of cartoonishly evil. Like I didn't really believe them as people. They seemed like they're just so over the top evil, and just the way they talk to each other is basically they'll say a word, then fuck. And they'll say a word, then fuck. Like, fuck that fucking shit, that fucking puto cop, that fucking guy, we're gonna fucking kill those fucking, like, damn, dude, I know some people talk like this, but all four of you, is the gang is essentially four people, and it's two guys and two girls. All of them are so interchangeable. If it weren't for them being different genders, I'd say all four of them are the same character. I didn't like the way they did the gang in this. Like Don Cheadle's character in Colors, that old cop movie with Sean Penn, had more personality than these guys did. And I think he was only in maybe 10 minutes of that movie. He wasn't a big part of that movie. But yeah, I didn't like the gang, but that's about as close as they keep kind of screwing over this gang. This is a really hardcore, violent-ass gang. And basically, as the movie goes on, there are kind of two things propelling it forward. One is that they keep pissing the gang off more and more, and the other is Jake Gyllenhaal's relationship with his girlfriend, played by Anna Kendrick. Anna Kendrick, who is most famous for the Pitch Perfect movies, I guess, and now she does commercials. I actually saw one right before I started filming, some Christmas thing. Like I don't know, I don't pay attention to it, but I like Anna Kendrick. She's cute. She's just, I haven't seen her in a really challenging role. She seems to do Perfect Girlfriend. And Perfect Girlfriend is a character that you see a lot, especially in movies in the 2000s. And it's a girl who is in a movie, is not the main character, is non-threateningly pretty, and is just pleasant. They're just, pleasant. They don't have any real flaws to speak of. They just sort of are there. And I like the best example of Perfect Girlfriend I can think of right off the top of my head is Wedding Crashers. Rachel McAdams' character in Wedding Crashers, just because that was such a big movie, most people have seen it. Like just that girl, like she's pleasant, she's upbeat, she's pretty, but not in a way that you would feel uncomfortable trying to ask her out on a date. You know, she's yeah, just she's easy to talk to, like just perfect girlfriend. Just a guy's dream of low maintenance, attractive woman. That's all there is. So but it's fine, and she and Gyllenhaal are fine. I didn't care that much about her or her character, and a big driving force of this movie is that end of watch is a police term meaning the end of your shift, but it's also a police term for a dead cop. Like their end of watch was last Thursday, they died. So I could tell through this whole movie that one of these guys was going to die. Like it was very obvious, and I was positive it was going to be Jake Gyllenhaal. Like even when he goes on his little road trip with Anna Kendrick to Las Vegas, you see on the sign, the Vegas sign, it says 187, the police code for homicide. So I was positive it was going to be Gyllenhaal. But yeah, aside from that, like I said, it's hard to really talk about this movie because there's not a plot. There's not, I could just talk about scenes. Like I could talk about the scene where they get the gold-plated gun. They keep going. It's Liberace's machine gun. But one scene I didn't like also was the house fire scene where they rescue the kids. I honestly think that scene should have been cut because that was the most piss poor fire effects I've ever seen. Like they did not have a fire unit on this movie. They did not have fire in that house. The house wasn't lit on fire. And like CGI fire has improved enough to where it's kind of okay if you film carefully, but this wasn't well done. It was just an orange bright spot in the corner of the screen, and then when they're in the house, all they did was just kind of shine yellow lights at Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena. It looked really fake and really bad, and I think that whole scene should have been cut. But aside from that, yeah, it's just a collection of scenes. Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, the supporting cast. There are a few interesting actors in the supporting cast. America Ferrera is in here as a cop, and she's doing a good job of being serious. She's mostly known for comedy. She's on that sitcom Superstore. I'm actually not sure if that's still on the air, but she was on it. And it has Frank Grillo from the Purge sequels, Purge 2 and 3, and he was also Crossbones or something in some of the Marvel movies like Captain America. And I'm not a fan of those, so I don't know. But I like the actor a lot, and he's cool. He plays their boss. He's just the sergeant. But they at least give him some good lines towards the middle of the movie at the wedding when he's talking about this friend of his that died. It's always good seeing Frank Grillo pop up. He's a good actor. He's a good tough guy actor. I don't know that I would necessarily be able to buy him in anything else, but and you also get David Harbour in here. You also get David Harbour in here. David Harbour. I'm not positive I'll pronounce his name. The cop on Stranger Things. I believe this would have been released just before he started on Stranger Things. And his character is the asshole. Like he's the guy that they work with that is always rude and just kind of a prick and really hates his job. And he even keeps complaining about Jake Gyllenhaal filming everything. So and his character didn't go where I expected him to. I thought for sure that this guy would end up either saving the day or turning out to be corrupt. And it didn't go either route, honestly. His character just, in a very realistic way, his character just gets injured on the job and is no longer able to be a police officer. It's a very realistic thing because it doesn't pay off in any kind of meaningful way. It was just a guy they knew that they didn't particularly like, and then he got hurt, and they had to have his back. And it was kind of making a point about how cops, have to do that. And I've heard people who are in the military say this, is that it doesn't matter, the guy in your squad that you hate the most, that you just can't stand even the sight of, that you like, you'd still take a bullet for him without even thinking about it. It's just the level of camaraderie and brotherhood. In that situation, it becomes automatic. It's just a reflex. You don't even think about it. As if they're in danger, if they're harmed, it's your personal responsibility to deal with it. And that, like I said, that's kind of ultimately what End of Watch is about. Is just the brotherhood between Gyllenhaal and Pena's characters specifically, but just between police in general. And again, this is a very pro-police movie. David Ayer has said that around when he did Training Day and Dark Blue, and I love Dark Blue, he wrote it, didn't direct it, that he had come to the conclusion that crooked cops are always going to be more interesting than normal cops, or good cops. Crooked cops were always going to be more interesting than good cops. And with End of Watch, he kind of wanted to prove himself wrong with that. And I mean, he did. These guys are solid. I would have liked there to be a little bit more going on in the movie, because, like I said, this is just a very episodic series of things that happen to these two. So, yeah, it's hard to really talk about too much else other than just, I do really think that Jake Gyllenhaal's a great actor, and he again I'll note how good he is in this movie, how authentic he is, the way he can be kind of funny in scenes and be kind of intense. I really believed him a lot in this, and I think that it will be interesting to see where his career goes from here. But isn't he playing the Riddler in the next Batman movie? I think I heard that. But I don't know. Michael Pena is good as well. Michael Pena needs a new agent because he has been in some god-awful movies lately. Did anyone see Jexy? I'd rather shoot myself in the face than watch that movie again. Good God in heaven, that was a bad film. And Michael Pena's like doing that stupid, I don't know, I call it the Fortnite dance, where you kind of like stand there and shake it. I don't want to do it. But he's doing the Fortnite dance and it's so unfunny. He needs a new agent. And Anna Kendrick is very attractive, and I don't know, I hope eventually she gets a good role, and she doesn't have to play perfect girlfriend for the rest of her life, but considering she's doing commercials right now, I don't think her career's doing that well. But maybe she'll bounce back. Anyway, that's all I got on End of Watch. Yeah, pretty good flick.
I'm down with that.
So, I almost forgot, I will be doing updates Wednesday and Friday. I was saying Tuesday and Thursday, but I'm up all night, so it will actually be posted in the morning, Wednesdays and Fridays. And I have one more request to get to. It's for the movie Party Monster, which I am watching right now. And I'll probably post that Saturday because I don't think I'm going to get to it tonight. But yeah, so updates Wednesdays and Fridays. Hope you enjoyed the End of Watch review. And to the guy who requested it, I hope you got what you wanted out of it. That's all I got. Goodbye.